Good morning, mathematicians. It is lesson 12, solve problems. In this cool down, we will evaluate expressions. Let's get started with number 1. Priya hiked 1 2/3 miles. Diego hiked a half of a mile. How much farther did Priya hike than Diego? So we know if we are being asked how much farther, then we are going to subtract Priya's value. We're going to subtract Diego's value from Priya's. Priya's is more. So let's go ahead and let's take a look at what type of denominators we're looking at. Priya hiked 1 2/3 miles. Diego hiked 1/2 of a mile. We are going to subtract. And I noticed that this is a all kinds of denominator type of question because I cannot make 2/3 have an equivalent form with a denominator of 2, and I cannot make 1/2 have an equivalent form with a denominator of 3. So instead, what I'm going to do is I am going to multiply 2/3 by 2 over 2, right? And likewise, I am going to multiply 1/2 by 3 over 3. Now, remember, I can take these numbers and multiply to get an equivalent form. And then with that equivalent form, we will be able to subtract. So let's go ahead and begin. I have 2 times 2 and 3 times 2, and that is going to give me my new fraction. 2 times 2 is 4, 3 times 2 is 6, and of course, I'll bring over my 1 as well. So I have 1 4/6. That is equivalent to 1 2/3. Now we're going to do the same thing with our bottom numbers. Here I have 1 times 3 and then 2 times 3. And that is going to give me 1 times 3 is 3 and 2 times 3 is 6. Notice now we have common denominators and now we can subtract. I have 1 4/6 minus 3/6. That gives me 1 1/6. So I now have an answer of 1 1/6. I am going to come and explain my reasoning. I have shown my reasoning really well down below, but let's go ahead and let's say what that 1 1/6 means in relation to the question. We know that Priya hiked farther, and now we know specifically that Priya hiked 1 1/6 miles farther than Diego. Excellent. So now we have an answer sentence as well as the correct answer. Let's go ahead and let's take a look at number 2. And we're going to notice in that number 2 that we're going to have to use some similar reasoning. So here it says on Monday, Andre hiked 3/4 of a mile in the morning and 1 1/3 mile in the afternoon. How far did Andre hike on Monday? Explain or show your reasoning. So this time we're going to be joining together two values. He hiked this much in the morning. He hiked this much in the afternoon, and we're going to add them together to find out how much he hiked in the entire day. This is an all kinds of denominator type of question because I cannot convert 3/4 to something with a denominator of 3 or the other way around. So instead, I'm going to be using my fractions of 1. I'm going to multiply 3/4 by what my denominator is in my other fraction. I'm going to multiply it by 3/3. And I'm going to multiply 1/3 by a fraction of 1 that is set right here by my other denominator. I'm going to multiply that by 4/4. So here, boys and girls, remember, we're going to multiply 3 times 3 and 4 times 3. That gives us a new fraction of 9/12. So I know that 3/4 equals 9/12. We're going to do the same thing down below. We know that we're going to be multiplying 1 times 4 and 3 times 4. That is going to give us 4/12. And we'll bring over our whole number, we've got a mixed number down there. Now we are ready to add. We know that 9 plus 4 gives us 13, and our denominator stays the same, that is 12. And we have our whole number, so 9 twelfths plus 1 and 4 twelfths equals 1 and 13 twelfths. Now, I am going to pause because technically this is right, but it's not in the best form. Usually a mixed number is a whole number part and a proper fraction part. Right now we have a whole number part and an improper fraction part. So I am going to remember that I have a whole. I'm going to take out 12 twelfths to make a 1, and that's going to leave me with 1 additional twelfth, right? Do we see this moment right here, boys and girls? 13 twelfths is the same as 12 twelfths plus 1 twelfth, right? So now I can join those two together to create 2 wholes because 12 twelfths equals 1 whole. And we have an additional 1 twelfth. So do remember, this was in context of a word problem. So we do want to make sure that we go ahead and say how this relates to Andre. So we are going to say on Monday, Andre hiked a total of 2 1/12 miles. All right, I have shown my work up above and I've kept it nice and neat. So I know that between my answer sentence and my work shown, I have shown that reasoning and given a little explanation that relates back to the context of the problem. This completes our Lesson 12 Cool Down.